Get out on the floor now! Put your hands behind your back now!
Here at the Fake Britain House, we'll reveal the fakes that are flooding the market, conning people like you and me, and making money for the criminals. We'll investigate the fraudsters who are selling us something that isn't real and could be dangerous. And we'll help you avoid falling for a fake. Today on Fake Britain, a raid on the cold callers making fake medical claims to talk their way into your home.
They was asking me if I'd got any health issues. I kept on saying no, but he wouldn't take no for an answer.
Trading standards take them down.
Oh my God, I don't want
The fake electric hairbrushes that could make your hair stand on end.
Chances are it would give the consumer an electric shock when they were using it.
The fake back protectors putting motorcyclists at risk. We put them to the test.
That could be the difference between walking away or not walking again.
And fake pedigree cats. How you could be caught out.
The vets gave him less than 24 hours to live. How stupid. That conned.
If you're called by someone trying to sell you something, they're probably using one of these. It's a telesales script. It lists their questions and the ideas they think will help clinch a sale. But this script is a bit different. It was seized in a raid at a company which tried to convince people it was carrying out medical research. But those claims were fake. Leeds, West Yorkshire, and police and trading standards officers are gathering for a major operation.
We'll need to interview all of the staff that we find, make sure that nobody tries to hide any evidence.
They're getting ready to raid the premises of an orthopaedic furniture company. They believe the company is making fake claims of conducting medical research to rip off elderly and vulnerable people.
What we're looking for is business documentation relating to complaints, and very importantly scripts, telesales scripts.
The team, led by National Trading Standards Olga Kiptilly, head off. We'll see what happens later. But how did the company, Dreamwell Limited, attract the attention of Trading Standards and the police? John and Rosemary Stokes from Worcestershire had never heard of the company when they were cold called by them.
The first contact we had was by telephone, asking if I'd answer some questions for market research. They were just asking me if I'd got any health issues and if I took medication. I thought they were just asking questions of the general public.
When somebody starts talking about medical research, you think, well, we'll do our best if it's going to help somebody along the line.
Having told the Stokes they were just researching improvements to their range of medical products, Rosemary agreed to help Dreamwell out, providing details of the back pain she suffers from.
Then I had another phone call saying they thought that they'd got some aids and equipment that could help me, and he asked if he could come and see us.
Still believing it was just for research, Rosemary agreed to a visit by a Dreamwell representative.
He was a very nice gentleman.
He came and made himself at home.
He wrote down all the medications that I had, and he appeared to know what they were for and how they worked. And then he produced this mattress that he said worked very well for
orthopaedic.
For back problems.
At this point, the Stokes realised that Dreamwell were less interested in medical research than selling them an orthopaedic bed for £3,600.
I said, we haven't got a lot of savings. We live on a state pension and have to pay all the bills and everything. There's no other income. So we just couldn't find the money to pay for them.
Unable to convince the Stokes to buy a bed, the salesman left, and that's when Dreamwell really began to turn the screw.
The phone kept ringing and
I kept answering it and he kept on coming up with another deal. Every time he rang, every 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, another deal. I kept on saying no every time, but he wouldn't take no for an answer. In the end, I said, I'm not answering that phone again.
But John did answer it and was offered a once-in-a-lifetime deal.
If we didn't take it that particular day, we were fools because this special offer, we wouldn't get another one. At that time, I was completely confused. And he said, look, he said, I can't hang on it. And I said, well, we can't afford. That's no problem, he said, we'll get you some finance.
John agreed to finance to cover the £4,000 cost of 2 single beds. Even then, the products did nothing to help Rosemary's back pain.
You just could not sleep on them. And so how were they going to improve your back?
In the end, you had to sleep on the floor, didn't you?
Yeah. I rang the firm up and asked them if they'd take them back. And they said no. I said that I couldn't sleep on them. She said, well, you've had them now, you've got to get on with them, sort of thing. They just wanted you to have these beds, and that was it.
Another victim of Dreamwell's fake claims is Eileen Cross from Huddersfield. She was also cold called by the company's telephone sales team. Now a widow, she suffers from angina, diabetes and lung complaints.
They talked to me about the ailments that I had, and they had something that would make it better. They did say that it would be for product research.
A few days later, she too was visited by a Dreamwell representative.
It was quite jovial, easy to talk to, and I thought this is going to last about half an hour, but it didn't. He was eventually here for 3 hours, trying to talk me into buying this item, and I just could not get shut of him.
The man wanted £10,000 for an orthopaedic bed and mattress. Eileen objected.
He said that he would knock it down to just the mattress and it would be £2,000 and odd pound, but I could pay at £50 a week. I just have my pension, which at that particular time was only £147 a week. So how I was going to take £50 a week out of that to pay for a bed that I didn't want in the first place, they must think they're mad.
After 3 hours, Eileen thought the only way to get rid of the salesman was to sign up for the mattress. Both Eileen and John and Rosemary felt they had been misled and pressurised into buying expensive goods they didn't want. It's a story Olga at National Trading Standards in York has become all too familiar with.
Consumers were being approached via cold calls. It was purported that the consumer would be giving views and opinions on a product that would be helping other people in the same situation, perhaps with similar medical conditions. They were making claims that they were associated with the NHS and nursing homes. They were making claims that their products were going to help with all sorts of ailments.
Cold calling companies using pressure sales to try and sell their products is a long-running problem. What makes this different is Dreamwell's use of fake medical claims. Olga and her team have spent months investigating the complaints and speaking to victims. Convinced the company has a case to answer, it's now time to take a closer look at its operations. So in Leeds, the team are heading out on their way to pay Dreamwell's offices an unexpected visit. Sophie Davies is one of the senior investigators taking part.
Well, we're just approaching the premises. The lead officer's going to go in first and we'll execute the warrant. So she's going to go ahead with the police.
The plan today is to raid Dreamwell's offices and arrest the husband and wife team behind it, Paul and Claire Ray.
Previously, we've had investigators visit the premises unannounced, and they have provided false documentation, so we don't want any evidence to be destroyed.
The bosses aren't here, but the team head into the main base of operations, the call centre, where dozens of telesales staff cold call the elderly and vulnerable.
My name is Olga, I'm an investigator with the Hamburg Scandal team. What we're going to do now is we'll take some brief details of all of you.
Does that go on telly? Oh my god, I got telly.
The call centre staff object to our presence. We leave the room while investigators interview them one by one. Later, we're let back in as the team come face to face with Dreamwell's fake claims.
The canvasser is supposed to say, we're not trying to sell you anything, we're just gathering feedback. They're targeting elderly and vulnerable people, and I believe their main intention is to sell products.
Hair straighteners are amongst the most counterfeited and dangerous electrical products in the UK. So when Fake Britain was told of a new design that was meant to deceive the public, we went to investigate. The Port of Felixstowe. Over 40% of UK container shipping comes through this Suffolk port every year. That makes it the biggest in the country, which also means it's a key interchange for the fakers. To keep fake goods out of the UK, National Trading Standards has set up a special Safety at Ports and Borders team tasked with intercepting dangerous products. Here at Felixstowe, it's led by Carol Garrett and Phil Reed, and there's one area they're really concentrating on at the moment.
Our main focus has been on hair products. We know that there are high failure rates with some of the hair brushes and hair straighteners, and that's one of the reasons why we've looked at these in particular.
We've seen on Fake Britain before how the market for electric hair products, like straighteners and dryers, has been infiltrated by dangerous fakes. In particular, the GHD brand. This one caught fire under testing.
The whole unit is completely disintegrated. There's no doubt this is a fake product. It's a death trap.
But it appears there's a new kid on the block when it comes to electric hair straightening tools. This morning, Carol's come to see a consignment of fake hair products that officers have seized following intelligence work. Because the brushes are electrical products, Carol's team are particularly concerned. Inside, the scale of the find becomes clear. There are dozens of boxes containing an estimated 10,000 electric hairbrushes.
So here we've got the consignment that we've been talking about with the potentially unsafe and counterfeit hairstyling brushes. We're now going to take a closer look at them.
The product is a hair straightening brush. Plugging it in heats elements up inside to control wavy hair. At first glance, all seems well.
So as described on the box, we've got a ceramic hair straightening brush, got warning in English, we've got a CE mark, got a model number, got a manufacturer's details as well.
It purports to be made by American beauty care company Art Naturals, but it's not. It's one thing to counterfeit a company's products, but in this case, the fakers have gone a step further. Art Naturals do not make an electric hair straightening brush, but that hasn't stopped the fakers from sticking the Art Naturals brand all over one.
Open it up and have a look, see what's inside.
And then Phil starts to spot things.
Ah, no, that's interesting. When we turn it over, the model number is different to what we've got on the packaging, and the manufacturer's details are different. On the packaging it says manufactured in Shenzhen, and on here it says manufactured in Ningbo in China.
With a fake on his hands, Phil needs to assess its safety standards. He checks the plug. His measurements don't throw up any great concerns, but there's only so much you can tell from the outside. Phil and Carol agree to let us test one of the brushes. We take it to Test House TUV in Hampshire, where product compliance expert Richard Pote puts it through its paces.
Initial visual inspection, you know, I'd say it looks okay. Next stage, we'll open it up and we'll have a better look.
But it's not long before he has serious concerns.
There's generally no electrical isolation anywhere here. So what I mean by that is mains voltage comes in, goes through these components, comes straight up here. That plate is actually the part that the user comes into contact to when they're brushing their hair. So what I need to make sure of is that there's no chance that that plate can become live. If we look very carefully, there's a couple of wires underneath here which look quite thin.
Thin wires means they have less insulation to protect them should they fail. That makes it more likely that the plate, which is the main heating element in the brush, could become live.
If those wires are not adequate, then there is a chance that if you're brushing your hair at the time, you would receive an electric shock as a result. I think they probably warrant some further investigation. We'll measure it under the microscope and we'll see just how thin it is. We're looking for at least 0.6 millimetres of insulation on those wires. If the wire is less than 0.6 of a millimetre, then it doesn't meet the requirements of the standard. I can see that the wall thickness measures around 0.4 of a millimetre, so it is less than our absolute minimum requirement. In the event that the plate did become live, then chances are it would give the consumer an electric shock when they were using it, and electric shocks, not good. That's a situation we want to avoid at all costs.
Trading Standards carried out their own tests, which showed even more issues. Mainly that the plug construction itself was inadequate.
The concern here was the quality of the construction. The mechanical strength of the pins is inadequate, and that means you've got the risk of an electric shock to somebody at the point at which they put that into the socket. Products like this that are not genuine, potentially are very dangerous. It could potentially kill somebody. We're obviously therefore very relieved that we found 10,000 of these at the border before they got onto the market.
Later, we're there to see the fake electric hairbrushes terminated.
As you can see, completely destroyed.
Ride one of these, and you'd be crazy not to wear one of these, and very wise to wear some of these. And more bikers are also choosing to wear one of these. It's a back protector, and it's designed to reduce the impact of a crash. Far from being a potential lifesaver though, this one is a fake, and it's on sale openly in the UK, and it's putting motorcyclists at risk of very serious injury. The MCN Motorbike Show in London. Here, thousands of motorcyclists from across the UK have come to see the latest equipment available. According to Department for Transport figures, motorcyclists are 75 times more likely to be killed or seriously injured than a car driver. So, as you'd expect, this is a group of people that understands the value of safety. You'd hope vital motorbike protective equipment would be immune from fakery. But we've seen on Fake Britain before that it's not.
During an accident, the counterfeit helmet breaks in a very dangerous way.
But it's not just helmets and leathers that riders need to worry about. These days, many bikers also choose to use back protectors. First developed by the great British rider Barry Sheene following a gruesome crash in 1975, they've come a long way since then. But the principle is still the same, as consultant spinal surgeon Nick Birch explains.
The spine is made up of the spinal column, which are the bones and the discs at the front, and the bones that then form the back of the spine. Inside is the spinal canal, where the spinal cord is, and that's the really delicate part. If a motorcyclist come off their bike and hit their back on the ground or against a fixed object, it will impact here. With a back protector, that energy is spread over the whole of the spine, and that then will reduce the amount of damage to the single part where the impact is.
Wearing a back protector isn't required by law. But former World Superbike champion Troy Corser doesn't need convincing of the benefits.
I know there's a few crashes that I've actually had in the past that I know if I didn't have one I would have damaged my vertebrae in some way. 9 times out of 10 crashes you'll end up landing on your back or your bum. If you haven't got one, don't ride your bike. That's basically the long and short of it.
It's advice that keen biker Mickey Boucher agrees with wholeheartedly.
Racing motorbiking is more than in my blood. I can't do without it. Most of my friends ride a motorbike, whether on the road or on the track. So does my girlfriend and so does my daughter. I think wearing a back protector is crucial and always wear it. It's no good in the cupboard.
Having used an older protector made by Italian manufacturer Dainese, he became interested in their new Wave model. The company says it has a unique aluminium honeycomb crumple zone plate. It retails for £130. Mickey went looking for the protector online. He found one on sale for less than the official price, through a shop which claimed to be shutting down.
When I saw it online, I thought this is great. The shop was described as closing down. Looking at the ad, I was convinced that it was okay. The feedback was very, very good for products exactly the same as I was buying. Everybody loves a bargain. It was on auction and I thought perhaps I was going to be the lucky one.
So Mickey went ahead and bought it, and that's when the problem started.
The picture presented in the advert was no doubt a genuine Dainese back protector, but what came through was very, very different. And the packaging was clearly not Dainese, which started me thinking, what about this, what about that? The materials felt completely different and very flimsy. I was very angry, and looking through the feedback, seeing that around 20 people had bought the same product and thought that it was legit, I felt bad for them too.
He took it to the local Dainese dealer, Nigel Foxall, who confirmed it was a counterfeit of the Wave 1 model. Comparing Mickey's fake to the real one, the differences are subtle but clear.
A quick glance and they look very similar. But then there's the small giveaways. The first thing is you feel the quality. This feels light, it feels cheap. The logo is wrong. We can see the strap is just stitched in. On the genuine wrong, it has a special lock-in strap that gives it better strength. If you turn them over, the fake has a logo that shouldn't be there, which the original one doesn't have. The really important thing is the CE certification. Now, if you have a look, you'll find it permanently stitched to the inside. If you look at the fake, there's simply nothing.
But what about that all-important aluminium crumple zone plate? Nigel talks us through the real one.
This is extremely light, which is very important when you're wearing it, and this will absorb energy by crumpling at the point of impact. In the case of an accident, you can see it's hard to the touch. You can bend it very, very slightly. If you look at the fake, firstly, we don't know what material this is, but straight away, compared to the original, you can see how weak it is, and the fact you can actually just pull it around and stretch it. There's nothing to it.
We went back to the online seller Mickey used and bought one ourselves. Sure enough, it too was a fake. But unlike Mickey's, instead of trying to copy the aluminium honeycomb, this one just has foam. But how do either compare to the real thing? Later, we're in the lab, putting them all to the test.
Byron.
At the Leeds offices of orthopaedic furniture company Dreamwell, Olga Kiptilly and Sophie Davies from National Trading Standards are searching for evidence of the fake claims they believe the company have been making in order to sell their products. In particular, they're looking for a copy of Dreamwell's telephone canvassing script. With the call centre now cleared of staff, we've been allowed back in.
My colleagues came first to execute the warrant, but this appeared to be the main room, which is the call centre. So we're just going through each desk to look what may be of evidential value to us.
Soon after, she finds exactly what she's looking for, the telephone script.
We're particularly interested in these scripts which canvassers were using. It's very misleading. I'm presuming this company's main aim is to sell their products. But the canvasser is supposed to say, we're in the area, we're gathering views and opinions on products that have been medically tested. We're not trying to sell you anything, we're just gathering feedback and we're demonstrating these things. They're targeting elderly and vulnerable people, and I believe their main intention is to sell products.
Sophie's equally concerned by note cards she's found dotted around the office detailing clients' medical history.
John, are you using things like this? Just like where they've put consumer's name with the issues that they've got, like arthritis? They haven't got any medical qualifications, why would they be asked? Male, 81 to 90 years old, living alone. He's had a heart bypass, he's got stents and a pacemaker, he's got back problems. They appear to ask a lot of medical questions, and I'm assuming these people aren't medically qualified.
As the search continues, it becomes clear Dreamwell's operation is a sophisticated telesales scam.
I think we'll seize this. These two will seize. We'll take that too.
The evidence is bagged and tagged, and there's plenty of it.
3 servers, got about 30 bags of computer equipment. This is quite a large number of documentation.
And there's news from across town on the company's bosses, Paul and Claire Ray. A second team went to their home address.
We've executed a woman at the residential premises. We've arrested the 2 individuals we wanted, and we've found the paperwork we wanted. We've also got a lot of computer equipment that we've seized, which will hopefully be of evidential value when we go through that. So, yeah, all in all, it's a good day.
After we filmed, the items seized in the raid were examined. More victims found, and even more of the company's fakery exposed.
Dreamwell Limited were making fake claims in terms of their affiliation with hospitals and NHS to get their foot in the door with the consumers. They were making fake claims about the fact that their products could cure pretty much any illness, any medical conditions. For example, the massage function, which would stimulate the blood flow, etc., and revive the person. It would cure diabetes, etc., and making various claims like that. That turned out not to be true. In some instances, there was actually a chance of danger because the sales representatives weren't medically trained. For example, if someone with a pacemaker is sold a massage chair, that could potentially be life-threatening to that person.
Olga's team brought charges against Dreamwell's bosses. Company head Paul Ray pleaded guilty to charges of engaging in unfair and aggressive commercial practices. His wife Claire pleaded not guilty, but following a trial was found guilty of misleading, banned and aggressive commercial practices and money laundering. Today, they're due for sentencing at Leeds Crown Court. National Trading Standards Colin Rumford is there to see it.
Following the judge's closing remarks, he then imprisoned Paul Ray for a total of 28 months and banned him for being a company director for 9 years. Claire Ray was imprisoned for 12 months and banned from being a company director for 7 years. It's a very strong sentence. It certainly gives a very strong message that this behaviour is not acceptable. To use the words of the judge, it's difficult to think of a worse offence of this nature where the deliberate policy was to set out to target elderly and vulnerable victims and exploit their medical conditions.
As a result of their operation, Trading Standards have been able to ensure neither John and Rosemary nor Eileen have lost out financially. For them, the sentence is vindication.
I am glad that they've been to court and that they've been found guilty.
We're very pleased because they've conned us into this, and we don't want them to do it to anybody else.
Meet Winnie the Burmese cat. He's a pedigree and he can prove it. Winnie is the real thing. But as we've discovered, some unscrupulous cat breeders are selling kittens which aren't what they appear to be. And the lengths the fakers will go to is quite extraordinary. So if you're thinking of buying a pedigree puss, you might just want to give pause for thought. Isn't that right, Winnie? Leamington Spa, Warwickshire. And some of the finest felines in the Midlands are strutting their stuff at a cat show.
We should have several hundred cats here today.
But these aren't just any old moggies.
We breed Asian Shorthairs.
Devon Rex.
Maine Coon.
This is a pedigree Sphinx.
I also have a Ragamuffin.
We've got the long hairs, the semi-long hairs, and then we've got the short hairs. All the pedigree breed.
They're pedigrees, bred to particular physical characteristics with a certified ancestry in that breed.
The Burmese are almost like humans, but they're also like dogs.
Sphinx cats just love human company.
Absolutely think they're the most fantastic animals to live with.
But this pedigree comes at a cost. Some breeds will set you back a few £100. Others, like the hairless Sphinx, won't leave you much change from £1,000. And it's price tags like this that have created a darker side to the pedigree trade. One that operates in the shadows and has its own rules. Welcome to the world of the fake pedigree cats.
Being lied to and being ripped off like that makes me angry.
Kirstin Nicholas has been a cat lover for as long as she can remember.
I'm a bit of a mad animal person. I don't think a home's a home without a pet.
But a few years ago, after one of her cats was killed on a road, she started looking for a new one which would be better suited to living indoors. She heard about pedigree breeds that fitted that bill and went to visit a breeder advertising one for sale online.
I got to the breeder's house. They brought out what was supposed to be a Maine Coon kitten that was available if I wanted it.
A Maine Coon is a sought-after pedigree breed, originating in America and famed for its hairy chest ruff and bushy tail.
She told us that she wanted to keep him, that he was much loved, her favourite, that she didn't have papers for him because of the fact that he was being sold as a pet. Like a fool, you absolutely swallow it all.
Kirsten paid the breeder £350 for the kitten and named him Sid. But not long after getting him home, serious problems emerged.
He then became very poorly, very lethargic, and we took him to the vets, and the vet told us that he was only 3 weeks old. Kittens really shouldn't be going home until they're about 13 weeks. The vets gave him less than 24 hours to live.
Kirsten tried to nurse Sid back to health, but he never fully recovered. His poor condition made her suspicious, and as she soon found out, with good reason.
So this is a photo of my Maine Coon kitten, Fernando. He's got semi-long hair, coat, he's got round eyes, a really nice bushy tail. He has big pointy ears and he has a nice wide muzzle. Sid had none of that. This is a photo of Sid. You can pretty much see that he's short-haired, that his ears are a different shape to a Maine Coon. Sid was a short-haired ginger tomcat. It makes me angry to know that I was sold a fake pedigree cat. I felt stupid, I felt conned. Didn't love the cat any less, but you're embarrassed and you're frustrated and you're confused as to why people would do that.
But it isn't just the embarrassment of buying a fake pedigree that upsets Kirsten.
They are ill-treating these kittens. We don't know what else they've lied about. We also don't know about the health of the breeding cats.
The only way to be sure the cat you're buying is a pedigree is to insist on seeing a pedigree certificate authenticated by a relevant body. But Kirsten didn't know that at the time. She's since become a breeder herself and realises now how badly she was duped.
Makes me really angry that someone lied to me like that. Makes me really angry that someone can sit there and smile sweetly with their children around them and tell you that this kitten that you're taking home is something that they're not.
Jackie Cuff from the Cats Protection Charity says the problem of fake pedigrees is growing and it represents a clear animal welfare issue.
If a person's buying from a seller who's not telling the truth at the cat's pedigree, you do have to wonder whether the cat has been brought up in the right conditions, in good welfare. Is that cat old enough to be sold? Are they getting a sick animal?
Jackie takes us online to show us how blatant the fakers can be.
This is an advert for adorable, cute Bengal kittens. It's only £200, that's very low. There's no reference to a pedigree certificate, but the most striking thing is, it's just a picture of a black and white kitten. This is a picture of a Bengal. Spotty, much more exotic, completely different. There's no way on earth that this black and white kitten is a Bengal. This looks like a fake.
And it's just one of many. One unlucky Canadian cat lover recently bought what she thought was a hairless Sphynx breed online, only to discover it was just a normal moggy that had been shaved. But fake pedigrees are no laughing matter.
Here we go.
Steve Crow is from the Governing Council of the Cat Fancy, the GCCF, which certifies pedigrees. He says to be sure you're buying a pedigree, you must get two types of certification, because pedigree certificates on their own, supplied by breeders, have been faked.
It's just a sheet of paper which has the name of the kitten and its parents and ancestors on it. This sort of thing is not difficult to fake. The only way that you could authenticate a pedigree like that is if there is a corresponding registration certificate like this from the GCCF. And if you don't have those two documents, you don't know whether that pedigree is true or false.
For Steve, The aim now is to put an end to the whole practice of cat fakery.
I think the practice is shameful, quite frankly. These are living beings. They're not toys, they're not a commodity. It's a living animal and it has a right to be cared for and treated appropriately.
Earlier, we saw how one unsuspecting motorcyclist was conned into buying a fake back protector.
Everybody loves a bargain. It was on auction and I thought perhaps I was going to be the lucky one. But what came through was clearly not done easily.
We bought one from the same online seller, and we too got a fake with a foam crumple zone plate. But what's the difference between the back protectors? We wanted to find out. So we took them to Cranfield University's Impact Centre for testing. Here, Dr. Jim Watson conducts impact tests for the motor racing industry.
Well, this is our drop tower here at CIC, and what we're going to do here is we're going to be placing the black back protector onto the anvil, and then we're going to be bringing along a impactor to drop onto it. What we then do is we work out then what the force is being transferred through the back protector. A higher force more likely to give you higher injuries.
The force the back protector lets through is measured in kilonewtons. First up to face the hammer, the real Dainese wave.
The impactor is ready to go, the cameras are set, and now Jamie's just about to fire.
Okay, arm in. 3, 2, 1, firing.
This has performed very well. From the graph, we can see that the force is just under 8 kilonewtons. So that's good.
Then the two fakes. First, Mickey's one with the counterfeit metal honeycomb.
Firing.
The lower load, which you can see here, is at 8 kilonewtons, which was for the original one. For the suspected fake is getting up to nearly 15 kilonewtons. It's a much higher force than the previous test we did on the original. Your risk is greater then of receiving injuries.
And then the fake we bought, which contains the foam.
3, 2, 1, firing.
And that goes up to nearly 16 kilonewtons, so a significant increase in load.
While both fakes offer at least some protection, it's barely half as good as the real product that bikers like Mickey thought they were buying. And unlike the real aluminium honeycomb, the fake metal mesh is no more effective than a cheap foam. It's a result that worries consultants like Nick Birch.
If you're unlucky enough to buy a back protector that isn't the genuine article, that hasn't been made in a way that is going to protect your spine, then potentially you're going to have a much more serious injury than you would do if you bought a genuine item that has been tested and proven to have energy absorbent capabilities. Potentially that could be the difference between coming off a motorcycle or skiing and having no spinal cord injury and therefore effectively walking away or not walking again.
Dainese dealer Nigel is also shocked.
It's very alarming when you find a fake product that is designed to protect you. With these fakes, they could have little or no protection in the case of an accident.
Earlier, we watched as National Trading Standards seized 10,000 fake electric hairbrushes.
You've got the risk of an electric shock. It could potentially kill somebody.
With the brushes confirmed as dangerous, Trading Standards have decided these products are only fit for one thing: destruction. So on a sunny morning, we're at a crushing yard in Ipswich to straighten out the bench straighteners. Nigel Slim is in charge.
These have just been tipped, come straight from the port, and we're now about to put them through the shredder. I'm witnessing it. We'll take some photographs for Trading Standards, and this is the last anyone will see of these.
And with that, 10,000 fake and dangerous electric hairbrushes make their last journey.
So this is the end product. As you can see, never going to be on the streets again, completely destroyed.
It's the end for another fake product that didn't brush up well. That's all from Fake Britain. Goodbye.
Get on! Get on the floor now! Put your hands behind your back now!
Here at the Fake Britain House, we'll reveal the fakes that are flooding the market, conning people like you and me, and making money for the criminals. We'll investigate the fraudsters who are selling us something that isn't real and could be dangerous. And we'll help you avoid falling for a fake. Today on Fake Britain, a raid on the cold callers making fake medical claims to talk their way into your home.
They was asking me if I'd got any health issues. I kept on saying no, but he wouldn't take no for an answer.
Trading standards take them down.
Oh my God, I don't want
The fake electric hairbrushes that could make your hair stand on end.
Chances are it would give the consumer an electric shock when they were using it.
The fake back protectors putting motorcyclists at risk. We put them to the test.
That could be the difference between walking away or not walking again.
And fake pedigree cats. How you could be caught out.
The vets gave him less than 24 hours to live. How stupid. That conned.
If you're called by someone trying to sell you something, they're probably using one of these. It's a telesales script. It lists their questions and the ideas they think will help clinch a sale. But this script is a bit different. It was seized in a raid at a company which tried to convince people it was carrying out medical research. But those claims were fake. Leeds, West Yorkshire, and police and trading standards officers are gathering for a major operation.
We'll need to interview all of the staff that we find, make sure that nobody tries to hide any evidence.
They're getting ready to raid the premises of an orthopaedic furniture company. They believe the company is making fake claims of conducting medical research to rip off elderly and vulnerable people.
What we're looking for business documentation, documentation relating to complaints, and very importantly scripts, telesales scripts.
The team, led by National Trading Standards Olga Kiptilly, head off. We'll see what happens later. But how did the company, Dreamwell Limited, attract the attention of Trading Standards and the police? John and Rosemary Stokes from Worcestershire had never heard of the company when they were cold called by them.
The first contact we had was by telephone, asking if I'd answer some questions for market research. They were just asking me if I'd got any health issues and if I took medication. I thought they were just asking questions of the general public.
When somebody starts talking about medical research, you think, well, we'll do our best if it's going to help somebody along the line.
Having told the Stokes they were just researching improvements to their range of medical products, Rosemary agreed to help Dreamwell out, providing details of the back pain she suffers from.
Then I had another phone call saying they thought that they'd got some aids and equipment that could help me, and he asked if he could come and see us.
Still believing it was just for research, Rosemary agreed to a visit by a Dreamwell representative.
He was a very nice gentleman.
He came and made himself at home.
He wrote down all the medications that I had, and he appeared to know what they were for and how they worked. And then he produced this mattress that he said worked very well for
orthopaedic.
For back problems.
At this point, the Stokes realised that Dreamwell were less interested in medical research than selling them an orthopaedic bed for £3,600.
I said, we haven't got a lot of savings. We live on a state pension and have to pay all the bills and everything. There's no other income. So we just couldn't find the money to pay for them.
Unable to convince the Stokes to buy a bed, the salesman left. And that's when Dreamwell really began to turn the screw.
The phone kept ringing and
I kept answering it and he kept on coming up with another deal. Every time he rang, every 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, another deal. I kept on saying no every time, but he wouldn't take no for an answer. In the end, I said, I'm not answering that phone again.
But John did answer it and was offered a once-in-a-lifetime deal.
if we didn't take it that particular day, we were fools because this special offer, we wouldn't get another one. At that time, I was completely confused. And he said, look, he said, I can't hang on it. And I said, well, we can't afford. That's no problem, he said. We'll get you some finance.
John agreed to finance to cover the £4,000 cost of 2 single beds. Even then, the products did nothing to help Rosemary's back pain.
You just could not sleep on them. And so how were they going to improve your back?
In the end, you had to sleep on the floor, didn't you?
Yeah. I rang the firm up and asked them if they'd take them back. And they said no. I said that I couldn't sleep on them. She said, well, you've had them now, you've got to get on with them, sort of thing. They just wanted you to have these beds, and that was it.
Another victim of Dreamwell's fake claims is Eileen Cross from Huddersfield. She was also cold-called by the company's telephone sales team. Now a widow, she suffers from angina, diabetes and lung complaints.
They talked to me about the ailments that I had, and they had something that would make it better. They did say that it would be for product research.
A few days later, she too was visited by a Dreamwell representative.
It was quite jovial, easy to talk to, and I thought this is going to last about half an hour, but it didn't. He was eventually here for 3 hours, trying to talk me into buying this item, and I just could not get shut of him.
The man wanted £10,000 for an orthopaedic bed and mattress. Eileen objected.
He said that he would knock it down to just the mattress and it would be £2,000 and odd pound, but I could pay at £50 a week. I just have my pension, which at that particular time was only £147 a week. So how I was going to take £50 a week out of that to pay for a bed that I didn't want in the first place, they must think they're mad.
After 3 hours, Eileen thought the only way to get rid of the salesman was to sign up for the mattress. Both Eileen and John and Rosemary felt they had been misled and pressurised into buying expensive goods they didn't want. It's a story Olga at National Trading Standards in York has become all too familiar with.
Consumers were being approached via cold calls. It was purported that the consumer would be giving views and opinions on a product that would be helping other people in the same situation, perhaps with similar medical conditions. They were making claims that they were associated